Uh, I'm Michelle Massey, the Vice Chair of the Student ADDYs for the National ADDY Committee. I'd like to welcome you today to our second ADDY webinar, which will last approximately 30 minutes. At the end of the webinar, there will be a Q&A, and we encourage you to type your questions into the question box and send them to staff. This webinar will also be available later this week for your review as well. At this time, I'll turn everything over to Vice Chair Jeffrey DeLong. Jeffrey?
Good afternoon, everybody. Hope everybody's doing well. And we're going to jump in, and today we're going to discuss more of the entrant side of things. But first, we're going to do a quick review on how to get to the entrant side. So we're going to log in to addyawards.com/admin. And I'm going to log into my little test site here. The username and password. And then everything is found, of course, down the left-hand side. And as we remember, when we get to configure competitions, we're going to look for the pin to make sure it's pointing to the left. And that means we are locked into this competition, so everything down the left-hand side that we do is going to refer to this particular competition. We're not going to look at anything just here yet. We're going to jump right to the entrance side. And to find my entrant URL, I'm going to put my mouse over the URL right here and click, and a window comes up with the 3 URLs that I'm most concerned with. The first one, again, is the URL we will hand to our web developer of our local club website. This is the URL that on your local club website you would put in to say click to enter, or click here to enter, or enter the ADDY Awards today, or whatever you want to do. And of course, like all the crazy designers out there, you want to make a big starburst. I don't know. So I'm going to take this URL, I'm going to copy it, and the next most important thing is, all right, now I am in Firefox. Doesn't matter what browser you're using, just as long as when we're switching to being an entrant, we change to a different browser. So I'm going to have 2 separate browsers up at the moment. I chose Chrome. You can choose Safari. Doesn't matter if you're on a Windows machine. You can do Internet Explorer, just as long as there are 2 separate browsers. And that reason is that when I log in as an admin, I am cookied on this particular thing. So what I'm doing here, and I've got one login, and it all surrounds in this. I need to move to a separate browser because I'm going to be doing obviously different things as an entrant. The other thing to note is that when I log in here, I'm going to have a specific email address tied to my administration account. I recommend that everybody creates and registers into their competition using a different email so it does not get confused on what your login is, because your login is tied to your email address. So entrants, when they get here, they will register for your competition. The nice thing about this year is that we have saved all the previous information for all of our entrants. So hopefully no more calls about how come you didn't keep my information from last year. We did. So one will register, and then they'll plug in their email address. And the way this will work is if it finds their email address in the system, it will pull up their information from last year and hopefully drop them into the proper competition, which would be the competition they were registered with last year. If they've moved or changed, they will have to go through some other things, but it should drop them in. If they have never registered before, let's just go ahead. It should present them with the form. And so I can select here and pull my entrant type. I'm a Mr. And then fill out all the appropriate information. Oops. Oh, it doesn't matter. Now, entrants can also define their own username. What we're trying to train for all the club admins is to use the email address as their username. They don't have to. They can plug in anything they want. But it's also up to you if you want to tell them that. Oop, postal code. And hopefully it will tell you all the errors that you have. Once they've saved their information, they're presented with the home screen. And this is where you can also define all this different text. And I apologize for the fire engine in the back. All right, so down their left-hand side menu, as you can see, is their entrant information. They can add an entry into the competition. They can view their entries, pay now, a bunch of health and FAQ for you to put in there. We recommend two different things to put here. One, for all the questions on the ADDY process, the ADDY rules, anything regarding ADDYs for your local competition, I would put your contact information here. And then this one right here for technical assistance, in other words, anything that happens while they're trying to enter things online, if they have issues with uploading, if they have issues with anything regarding the software itself, we need to point them in this direction. The other thing that you could add here is tell them to CC you on any correspondence they have with Omni. That way you know that they had an issue, so you can keep track of that. Hopefully there won't be too many issues or none at all. The rules, of course, explaining the rules of the competition. Here we've put the national rules and categories in this test competition. I recommend having your own set of rules there, not linking directly to the national rules. So you can have rules very specific to your competition. And then, of course, contact us can kind of be like help and FAQ. It all depends on what you want to put here. You can also customize the text to be all the drop-off locations, maybe some more about times and dates, important phone numbers and whatnot. So right now, let's go ahead and add a test entry. And this is where it gets a little tricky from years past. Right now, you'll notice I cannot click on any of these tabs up here because I have not filled out any of the information right here. It's pre-populated with the stuff that I've already put in from my Entrant account. So let's put another entry in here. And then, as usual, we'll select from a division. Go ahead and do television. Then we'll do regional, national, single. And then, as you can see, I've added some local-only categories that I have products with a budget line item, but otherwise I can still plug into these. That's the only thing different about local-only categories is that they can still go into the main category, which would be your roll-up category. So I have all my goodies. Now, to be able to move to the next thing, I have to save. Once I've selected my category and put a title on my entry, I need to save. Now, the bonus of this is that right away, they're already going to be given an entry number for that entry. So after that, they'll click on entry information and include all the stuff that they need to include for that entry. So you'll see that some of these fields are already there. This is not a website category, and this is not a campaign category. So this is where they would select the number of spots for whatever campaign they're in. This is where they would change the agency information, just like before, the clients. And then, of course, the date the entry appeared. I can click on credits. And click on add. It'll come into the list, and then if I need to add another credit, and it'll come into the list. And then we get to the wonderful thing of this year that we get to upload everything. So this time I'm going to upload a video. And let's see here. And this will take a little bit. Right now they will be single uploads, so each entry that has any type of upload, so if it's a TV spot, it will have a video upload. If it's a radio spot, it'll be an audio upload. And with all other collateral entries, there will be a digital asset upload. Now, this digital asset is not for judging purposes. It is merely for you to be able to download these files for gallery presentation and also to produce your show after the fact. It can also be used for a quick review on if that piece that's on the table matches what they had uploaded in the system, if there would be any question to that. Once the video, audio, or digital asset is uploaded, there should be a thumbnail that comes in with that. Now, right now the entrant, if they wanted to, can preview this, and it should pull up a window with that video inside, and it can be played. Now, this is also compatible across the board. Any machine, any Windows operating system, any Mac operating system should be able to play this. And you can go full screen if you'd like, and then you can close that out. All the instructions that we could think of have been placed on this page. As we know, entrants sometimes just do not read. What we're hoping to get out of them is that they will put the entry number in the file name. That is the main thing we want here, is to tell them to make sure they take their entry number and label their file accordingly and upload that file. This will help you on the back end when you're pulling down to either create a reel for judging or a timeline for judging, or create your show so you can match up the entry information with the entry asset itself. The last tab on the page deals with Finalized Entry. This is a new thing this year. The way the system works, the entry has to be finalized before it can go and be submitted for judging, and also to be submitted for payment as well. At this point, they can either choose to just save the entry and continue forward and adding entries and adding more entries, and then this will give them the option to go back to be able to edit the entry. So say they haven't put in all their credits, or maybe they need some other information, maybe it was the distribution or the date that it aired. Whatever it is, they need to not check that box until the entry has been completed or finalized with all the information that it requires. If they do this, then they will not be able to come in and edit the entry. Now, being an administrator, you will be able to edit the entry in the admin area, so there is still the possibility to make changes. It's just they won't be able to do it themselves. It's more of a security purpose for us, so they don't go in and monkey around with the entry after the fact. But right now, that's the main difference of this entry form. So I'm going to go ahead and click Finalize, because I know I've uploaded what I've needed to. I've got my credits in there, and I'm going to hit Save. So we've got that. It's been submitted. I'm going to go and view my entries. This is the one entry that I have in the system. You'll notice that there is no little edit button next to it, so I can't change anything. It's all ready for judging. And then I can go to Pay Now. Now, if you remember back in the administration area, we have the ability to do online payments and also select a setting to allow for offline payments. So I can either pay now, and that'll take me to whatever I've configured for my online payment, or I can check this box and get my fat little check ready to send to Steve Smith at Fake Street of Springfield, Illinois. This is also editable text, if you remember, that we can set up and explain all the processes for sending a check. Once this is paid for, it's not ready yet, but there will be a manifest list that they will be able to print out and bring along with all their packaged entries. And let's add another quick entry so you can see what it looks like if they were. All my goodies are there. I need to save. And let's go ahead and look at uploads. You'll notice this changed to a digital asset. So I would upload either a JPEG or a PDF of my entry to view that. And right now I can actually click Save. And we should be in the list, and notice it is incomplete. And what's nice is the entrant can come over here and click Incomplete, and it'll tell them everything that's wrong. So the entry information's requirements not met for language, and it'll take me right to it. And then if I go back here, oops, it's okay. It's also said the requirement's not met for the digital asset, so if I click on that, it'll take me to that. So we're really trying to help the entrant out and drive them down the process to be able to make sure that they provide us with all the information necessary for our entries to come in. And that, my friends, is the entrant side of things. Make sure they fill out all the information. Once they get in here, of course, some of the stuff is locked out, but other than that, you should be able to change entrant types in the admin if they, for some reason, logged on improperly. Filling out the entry form, making sure selecting the proper entries and uploading all the assets, being able to view entries, and you can edit, but once you've done editing and you've finalized and met all the requirements, they need to finalize the entry by clicking Submit. We also have information on that page. Notice it is disabled because I have not met the requirements. So I would still need to upload and hit that before I can finalize my entry. And that is it. So it's time for questions. So what we need you to do is submit all sorts of questions into the little question box, and we will have them answered as best as we can. Michelle?
I'm here. Hallie, do you have any?
Yes. Yes, okay. First question. This person asked, I noticed a checkbox where the entrant must approve the rules. Does that screen pop up so they can read the agreement? Is the agreement editable by us, or is that just the national rules?
Currently, that is the national rules, and the link is not there to view the rules right now. We are looking into that.
Okay. Next question. Can we make the you will no longer be able to edit an entry on the finalized page red and bold?
Sure. So highlight that in some way, shape, or form. You got it.
Okay. Can you please show us an example of an entry that is just saved and not finalized and where the edit button is?
View entries. There's the edit button. So I would click Edit, and it should take me directly to the main page of that form.
Okay. Next question, Jeffrey.
Mm-hmm.
Can you remove the Pay Now button if you are not going to allow online payment this year?
That is a good question. I will have to answer that. I believe if you don't select a payment option, then it should flag, but I will confirm that.
Okay. How is credit card authorization handled?
Okay, if we go through the admin, and I'll do a quick refresh on this. Oops. In the administration area, you have the option of these payment gateways: Authorized Net, Straight Credit Card, and PayPal, and different versions of that. By selecting one of those, it can either go automatically into your Authorized Net account or your PayPal accounts, or you can have them, of course, write down the credit card number and then swipe it manually with whatever process you define.
Okay. Is that it?
That's it.
Okay. If the entrant does not include the entry number in their downloaded file name, will we be able to edit the name of the file to include the entry number?
Once you download it and put it on your desktop, you can pretty much do whatever you want with it.
Okay. Is there a limit to the number of credits an entrant can input?
I believe we've set it to 20. Previously it has been 12, I believe. But I believe it's set to 20.
Okay. Is there any way of putting instructions on the first page of the entry form that says it must be saved to get access to additional pages?
Sure, but we can look into that.
Okay. On the upload page for broadcast, can we add information that the bar/agency information is still not to be included?
If someone wants to email me what they want that to say, we can. It's in the rules, but yes, we could definitely repeat it there if necessary.
Okay. This is a simpler question. Where was the section for manifest?
It will be most likely in Pay Now. It has not been approved layout-wise, so it's not there yet.
Okay. Where is the
right now you can actually use this, and that'll work too, but we're trying to make a cleaner version.
Okay. Next question, where is the print entry form?
Sorry, I didn't have my browser. It's going to be right here. So I can click on that. And it's waiting. Please do not look at this and think that it's final. The approved version should be in tonight or tomorrow at some point. This is not the entry form. It will work for what you need right now because it does have all the information, but the actual form will look pretty much identical to last year's. I can, give you a quick that's what it'll look like, but it is still being approved. And you'll notice that it pretty much identical to last year with a few modifications, bigger numbers, easier to see, whatnot. Okay?
Okay. Next question, what is ETA on manifest and other entrant reporting?
Manifest should be hopefully by the end of this week, and other entrant reporting, please explain.
I don't know.
All entrant reporting would be found in your administration area, which was gone over on the first webinar. All your entrants will be listed there for the competition. So I'm in a different competition right now as a different entrant. You'll see that I entered right up here. This was just done today. And I have a total of 2 entries in the system. And I can click on that and see entries. I can also go in and edit the entries. And you'll also see the status if it's incomplete or if it has been accepted. So that's all under Manage for the competition. Yes, go ahead.
Okay. Are you ready for the next one?
Yep.
Okay. Will you let us know when the software is ready to go so we can open up for entries?
You can open up for entries right now.
Okay. What if the file size is too big to upload? What should we do?
If the file size is too big to upload, tell them to make it smaller. That's not the nicest answer, but the video should allow for 100 megabytes per file. Now, most 1080p done with H.264 encoding should fit with a 30 to 60 second spot. The one issue we're probably going to have is with the larger format videos that last 2 minutes or longer. We'll take those on a case-by-case basis, but we should be able to handle the bulk of all these right now. We calculated that file size based on a lot of research.
Okay. Next question.
Mm-hmm.
It's about credit card processing.
Mm-hmm.
This person asked, we use virtual merchant for our credit card processing. Will we be able to connect that to this, or will we need to do credit card processing live when they bring in their entries?
I believe that payment system is not baked in, so you will have to do it manually when they're dropping off entries.
Okay. Is there a way that the site can automatically add the entry number to the upload file name since it's assigned a number at the beginning?
We're hoping for that for next year.
Okay. Okay. Information on entry. Hold on. The entry information screen with agency information, client information, date first appeared isn't mandatory at this point. Will it be? At this point, they can skip over, which is problematic.
Yeah, no, that information will be required. It's not right now. You're correct.
Okay. Does Omni have 24/7 support for entrants if we are adding them to the help area?
It's not 24/7, but you should get a response within 24 hours.
Okay. Is there any way of putting instructions on the first page of the entry form that says it must be saved to get access to additional pages?
That was a repeat. Yes, it's possible. We'll look into that.
Sorry. Okay. How long will digital assets be stored in the system? Will they be available for years to come?
As far as I know, yes.
Okay.
But we haven't defined, since this is a brand new system, we have not defined that process yet. It might become a space issue, so we might say all assets will be removed each year, which means you should probably download everything if you plan on keeping the assets from year to year. That's never been something we've done before. It is a space concern if we try to keep an archive of entrance files, so most likely I'm going to hedge my bets and say we will not be keeping the information from year to year.
Okay. How much longer are you taking questions for? This is my question.
No, we're up at 30 minutes right now. We have time for one more question.
One more question. Okay. Can you show us where check payment is again? I am not accepting credit cards.
All right, you got it. So under Configure, Dates and Fees, this is where it's hidden. So this one is a little confusing. So it's hidden under Miscellaneous on Dates and Fees, and then it's Enable Payment Method Type, or Entrant Payment Method Type. And right here, you've got yes or no, and then you can put the instructions right here. And then once you do that and click Save and Close, it's ready to go.
Okay.
And that should do it.
Yeah. So that concludes our Q&A. As always, you can email addyinfo@aaf.org if you have pressing questions that you need answered. We thank you all for attending the second ADDY webinar. We appreciate your time, and we hope that it was helpful. This webinar will be available online within the next couple of days, so you can refer back to it for information or to send along to those who weren't able to attend. And thanks again.